whistling for me. Thank you, James. So we'll call the meeting to order.
There you
And Cheryl, if we could do roll call, please.
Chair Eakins,
Here.
Vice Chair Collenbree,
Here.
Commissioner James, Commissioner McCatton, Commissioner Prevor.
Yes, here. I seem to have lost my video. I'm gonna log out and log back in, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
We will suspend all business until you do.
Okay. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Brian, are you expecting Gina and Valerie?
Gina is expected, and Valerie advised Cheryl that she would be a little late.
Oh, good.
Is this the historic district? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, the Zoom link didn't work, so I just drove here as quickly as I could. Thank you.
Okay, and Jenny is back.
Hi.
Hi.
There we go.
Okay,
And there's
sorry.
Gina.
Hey, there's Gina. Wow, it's a hat day. All right.
It's hat day.
Get my hat, my
It's a-
historic preservation hat.
Oh, that's what we need.
I
Preservation. Scully.
You know, we're there.
Okay, Cheryl, you saw Gina is here?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll continue. If you all could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to
To the flag
of
of the
United
United
States
of America
America.
and to the
Republic
republic for which it
Which
stands,
stands
one
nation,
nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A little over a year ago, we were with our daughter and family and 4 kids, and I was listening to 30 kids in a couple different languages say the Pledge of Allegiance each morning as part of their online homework. And so I learned early that you never sync on Zoom. Okay, public communications. Public communications is a time set aside during the Historic Preservation Commission meeting for members of the public to address the Historic Preservation Commission on items of city business other than scheduled agenda items. Matters raised at this time may be briefly discussed by the commission and will generally be referred to staff and/or placed on a subsequent agenda. Under state law, other than for emergency items, no action can be taken at this meeting. Next item on the agenda is the museum representative report. Wendy Barker, who's the executive director, informs us that there are a lot of town talks coming in conjunction with a new exhibit that opened up, I think, about a month ago, Ojai Warming, Flora and Fauna in a Time of Climate Change. It is being well received. And in fact, highly supported by the mayor. Here she's telling everybody to come see it. On Sundays at 4:30, there are town talks that are taking place, lots of town talks. This coming Sunday, the town talk, again, this goes with the Ojai Warming, Flora and Fauna in Time of Climate Change. This Sunday, the town talk item is protecting public and private land. And Perry Van Houten from the Ojai Valley News will be the moderator. A panel of Bryant Baker of the Los Padres Forest Watch, Tom Maloney of the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy, and Alistair Coyne of the Keep Sespe Wild will be talking. On January 9th will be speakers on stillhead recovery, and on January 23rd, mountain lion conservation. And a little insight, I have heard that the mountain lion will be showing up within the next couple weeks, so I'll let you be intrigued on that. Consent items. Minutes of the October 14th, 2021 regular meeting. The minutes are in our package. Commissioners, do you have any comments on the minutes?
I didn't see anything. I thought they looked good.
Me too.
So make a motion to approve?
Well, I just had one question. In the minutes, let's see, we're item 1. There was a line in there, this is on page 3 of 5. It said, motion, Commissioner James moved to accept the plaque language for the Hummel House landmark and direct staff to order the plaque. And then nothing happened. I think we interrupted her. It's-
Chair
Did you- yeah.
Convery, Vice Chair Convery suggested to make the motion to include the amendments. That was the next
Okay.
step in that conversation.
Okay, and then a second was put forth by Commissioner McCatton, and the vote was unanimous. So, yeah, I think she made a motion, but we weren't quite there yet. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Cindy, Vice Chair Convery, and Commissioner McCatton, thank you both. Roll call, please.
Akins,
Yes.
Convery,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McCatton,
Yes.
Prebor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have Commissioner James here now, too. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, I was looking to see if we had a council liaison, but we do not have a council liaison here tonight. That was my reminder to thank them. Okay, disclosure of site visits and ex parte contacts. So have you visited any of the locations that are under our agenda tonight?
Nope.
I visit Tico Road, 410 Tico.
Okay,
Well, I went there today, and I was not aware of this house. I didn't realize that there was another George Washington Smith house. So I went and I spoke with the housekeeper and walked around the property, and there was no one there but chickens, lots of chickens. But it's a very, very interesting property. Are we going to be able to see inside?
we'll get to that. We just need to know that you went and visited. it
Okay.
today.
Okay. I went to visit and I only saw the outside,
Okay, and you didn't talk to anyone there?
only the housekeeper.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mhm.
Okay, one thing I did, it may come up or may not, I did attend the Planning Commission meeting last night where there was kind of a question and answer session with the owners of the Roblar property. So 3+ hours of that. Okay, so we will move on then to, one other thing I wanted to point out. Video, don't know where the video is, but these are the plaques. These plaques will be handed out Tuesday night at the city council meeting. They are early in the agenda in the presentation part. I think it was item number 2. The city council meeting on Tuesday night is scheduled to start at 6:30. So we will have our 4 people that are being recognized that for both the annual award, Claire Hill and Dwayne Bauer, and for the Lifetime Achievement Award, Alan Raines and Cricket Twitchell. And Sherry or Cheryl have been in contact with them, and has it been confirmed that all 4 of them will be here? Yes, it is. Okay. So again, that's at Libby Bowl, Tuesday night, 6:30. It will be early. So you're welcome to come and participate. Yes.
Chair Akins, I'd say at this point, we're still on ex parte contact at this
Oh,
point.
I'm sorry. we
That
finished.
actually, I think that fits squarely within commissioner comments towards the end of the agenda.
I wanted to catch people before they fall asleep.
That's good. Agreed.
I have a question about, is it ever visiting a home, or is it since the last meeting? Because, I mean, we all visited the Hummel House, but we don't have to say it again, right?
if you've visited it recently, I think it's important to identify that in terms of ex parte contacts. And that's not only for the Hummel House, but any of the public hearing items that are on the agenda tonight. So I'd almost say that we run through each one individually.
Do you
Right.
know, do you want to know like the last time we were there or?
No, recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, recent contacts. If you've driven by the property, if you've had contact with anybody directly related to it, property owners.
Okay, well, the three places we're looking at are discussing tonight are 410 Tico Road. So Commissioner Prebor already advised us that she had gone by that property. Has anyone else gone by that property or spoken with the owners of that property?
No.
No. Okay. Neither have I. The next item we're doing is at 1105 Signal Street. That is known as the Hummel House up at the top. Has anybody gone by that property and or talked with the owners of that property recently?
I have. They're my neighbors, so yeah, I see them and talk with them, but not about the project.
Okay. Great, thank you. And the third location is 43 Terramina Lane. Has anybody gone by that or spoken with the owners of that property?
I
Commissioner
go by
James?
that a lot, when I'm walking, but I haven't spoken to the owners.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay. Does that work, Lucas?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just trying to put the pledge in before we got to the meaty stuff.
Absolutely.
And especially if they may be watching us tonight. Okay, public hearing items. We are on item number 3. I would like to turn the time over to the staff for
Is this item 3 or is this item 2?
2. I'm sorry, 2.
Yeah, 2, okay. Yes. Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is Lucas Seibert, Community Development Director here with the City of Ojai. The item you have before you tonight is a public hearing item for miscellaneous permit 21-041 for the consideration of recommending to the City Council to enter into a revised Property and Mills Act agreement with the property owners of the City of Ojai, which is landmark number 15, the George Washington Smith Spec House C, located at 410 Tico Road. Just to give you a little bit of history and context to this site, in 2008, the site received historic landmark designation as well as a Mills Act agreement through this body as a recommendation and then through City Council for final consideration. And then fast forwarding to 2020, the site received approval from this body in September for additions to the property at 410 Tico to this historic landmark. Post that, the property owner then went to record the agreement itself, and the assessor's office at that point with Ventura County had interpreted that the Mills Act agreement does not include the property under and around the guest house and garage regarding the Mills Act itself. Because of that, which is somewhat of a technicality, staff has recommended a revision to the Mills Act agreement to address this concern raised by the Ventura County Assessor's Office. And those revisions have been highlighted in yellow as a part of the attachments to this report. Given that, the staff is recommending that we hold a public hearing as we're doing tonight, and then to receive public comment as well, and then to review the revised Mills Act agreement between the city and the property owner, and include any restrictions and maintenance components to it as a part of a recommendation. This will be a recommendation going to City Council. With that, staff is recommending approval, given the revisions that we're seeing tonight, and I know the applicant is here as well tonight.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Cheryl, first off, did we have any public comment cards that were generally and not aligned with a specific item?
No, we did not.
Okay. Okay. Do we have a speaker for item number 2?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, but we do have the owners that are here.
Yep, the applicant or owner, they are present.
Yes. Randy, did you want to speak?
I'd be happy to, if it would be helpful.
Whatever you'd like to share with us, this is your time to share it,
Okay.
if you would.
I think it'd be helpful to have Randy speak as well, because I know he's lived this over the last roughly 18 months.
Yes, great. Thank you. Welcome
Oh,
to you and to your family.
Appreciate that, Commissioner. And I'm sorry that we didn't see you, Commissioner Prebor, when you
Oh,
came.
You didn't see me snooping around your
We were
driveway
there.
this
I
morning?
was there. I was there all day. But I'm glad you saw the chickens.
I
Sorry-
saw the chickens.
Sorry
I
we don't have
spoke with
goats
the
anymore,
housekeeper.
but anyway, come and Lucas or I could give you our number and, happy to show you the house anytime.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Thank
We can get you connected afterwards. Sure.
Okay. So just a summary. So the city historians and we've always been in agreement that the house and the land, the entire parcel, has always been historic. Since Libby developed the Arbolada tract many years ago, other than the garage and guest house structure, which were done after the fact. Our renovation, which was unanimously approved by the committee or commission here last year, corrects errors that were done in another addition that was the bedroom addition, the bathroom addition that was put in the 40s. And it corrects problems caused by that addition, which originally the house was just a 2-bedroom Jack and Jill bedroom house. And so in the 40s, they put another bedroom in that you can only access through, the main access is through the Jill bedroom. So you actually have to walk through the bedroom, really rendering it as a hallway, actually. We use it as our office now, but it's not functional anymore as it was originally intended to be a bedroom. Also, the house was oriented not by George Washington Smith, not based on where the street is particularly, but based on where the view is. So its position on the property at a high point, looking at the Topa Topas, was a main reason why the house was actually oriented and even built the way it was with the living room French doors kind of opening out at that view, but that was blocked significantly by that addition. And Commissioner Akins and other commissioners who've been there has seen that. And the small renovation that we're doing will bring the functionality back to the Jack and Jill bedroom as it was originally intended. And also it will significantly improve bringing back the view that was blocked by the 1946 edition. So the renovation actually corrects in a big way the problems that were caused, restoring the house to the way it was as much as possible originally. And the plan actually that we presented last year led the city's historian, Post Hazelton, out of Santa Barbara, to conclude on their summary and conclusions that after implementation of the proposed project, the property at 410 Tika Road, other than the garage guest house, would maintain its listing as a City of Ojai landmark and sufficient importance to the community to qualify for the Mills Act in its entirety. And so we've been in agreement, as clarified actually in last year's hearing. Kindly, the city prepared a letter in April to help resolve the issue that we were having with the assessor's office. But they don't care. They looked at the letter, but it didn't matter. They're reading incorrectly the actual recorded document that was done in 2008. where the, and I'm going to read you where they're identifying what the landmark, the Mills Act property landmark encompasses. And it's very short. Owners hold fee title in and to that certain real property, together with the primary residence located at 410 Tika Road, and then they situated on and comprising the parcel number. So that signifies basically our agreement, our joint agreement, that it includes the whole property. But then the sentence goes on to take out the guest house garage area. And it says, this agreement shall apply to that portion of the historic landmark property where the original structure known as Arbolada House C is currently located, and not the newer guest house garage constructed subsequent to the original structure. And then it says a legal description of the historic landmark property, which of course includes the entire parcel. But they're using that language to exclude the garage guest house structure, to also exclude the property under and around the guest house structure. And it's quite onerous for us, the result of that, in terms of property taxes. So we, our only recourse is to clarify our Mills Act agreement, so it's absolutely clear that it includes that land as well. And then we also want to add that it includes, as the post-Hazelton report concluded, that it includes the addition that was approved unanimously in the resolution. So I'm here for any questions if the need arises.
I'd like to also add to the record, the letter that was sent was, we were hoping by sending the letter through the city that the assessor's office would then see that the city is in agreement, obviously, with the interpretation. The assessor's office didn't bat an eye in terms of saying thanks, but no thanks. It's not clear enough for us, which is kind of interesting to that fact, because I believe at that point, Randy, you ended up appealing the decision, and then it was basically dismissed, is what I remember.
They didn't care. They were trying to. They did what the assessor's office wanted.
So I just want to make, Randy, the applicant, has been, and the property owner obviously, has gone through great lengths to try to resolve this without having to come back to this commission, to this body, and then ultimately to city council. He's, as far as I can tell, he's exhausted all resources, and now we're back to revising the agreement so that it's consistent and clear as far as the assessor's concerned. So
great. Let me open it to questions by the commissioners to either Randy, the applicant or owner, or to staff. Commissioner, questions?
I don't really have a question, but I think, Randy, what you said is they goofed up in the beginning and they didn't landmark the whole thing, and now you have to go around in circles with them and it's not working, so you're back in Ojai to fix it. Is that what's happening?
We did clearly landmark it, and
I know, but they didn't. But it didn't happen on their end.
The reason is because there's a state in the Revenue and Taxation Code. There's a sentence there that says that qualified historical property includes qualified historical improvements in any land on which the qualified historical improvements are situated as specified in the historical property contract. If the historical property contract does not specify the land that is to be included, qualified historical property includes only that area of reasonable size that is used as a site for the historical improvements. They're looking at that, and they're saying that, well, we said that it doesn't include the garage and guest house here in the agreement, even though earlier we said it includes the entire parcel. And so they're kind of taking the view of this that is not contrary to what our agreement has been, the historians, the city, and us.
Yeah.
So it's as Lucas alluded, it's been taken hours of my time and our family's time worrying about and trying to deal with.
Yeah.
I have a question about the original size of the parcel. What was the original size of the spec house parcel? The same?
As far as I know, it's been the same. I've heard rumors that the parcel years and years ago was larger before they continued to subdivide the Arbolata, but I've not read anything about that in any of the historical documents.
But never smaller.
Yeah, Commissioner Praber, to your point, from 2008 to today, that the size of the parcel has not changed.
Okay.
2008 when the Landmark and Mills Act were approved.
Great. Commissioner McHatner or Commissioner James, do you have any questions?
No,
No, we should rectify this.
Great, thank you.
yeah.
So, Lucas, if you could clarify this maybe a little bit for us. The applicant comes to the Historic Preservation Commission, and the Historic Preservation Commission makes the call that this is a landmark. We accept the landmark. We make that recommendation to the City Council, who then ratifies that decision. That then is the city's decision to make, and it is for them only to make that decision on whether they believe this is eligible for the Mills Act. And then it is the county people who handle property taxes who then actually have to make that adjustment in their books to affect your property tax return. Am I correct?
Correct. Right.
Okay. And so and the fact that they're disagreeing, when you and I talked some time ago, I know you've been working on this for a while, it seems to be a change in interpretation at the county level.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. I remember having a conversation with the county back in February, maybe the end of January. And I was trying to wrap my head around the questions that they were asking. I provided them with all of our documents in terms of what this commission had recommended to City Council, and then obviously providing those legal documents. And the way they explained it and the way Randy just identified it, it doesn't make sense to me, but clearly it makes sense to the assessor's office. They're looking for technicalities and a clean slate. In terms of our documents, I almost feel like they are a clean slate, but there is this slight tweak that if we make that tweak, and what Randy has been working with them on, I think that gets us in line with what the assessor's office is looking for.
So again, I'm trying to take a little bit more time on this, Randy, because I think this is clarifying errors that might happen in the future for other homeowners. Because I know recently we declared property landmark, and always is that question: are you landmarking the whole property? Are you landmarking portions? And they chose also to landmark the whole property. And so,
yeah, and are you talking about the one that's coming up as the next item?
I am.
Yeah, that one we may have to take a closer look at before it ends up going for recordation, to ensure that the way in which the assessor's office is interpreting is consistent with the way in which that language was written.
Great.
So
again, this is a precedent setting, a bad precedent, I think, or incorrect on their part. We're just trying to make sure that your work pays off for those going ahead. So my question to you, Lucas, is what does the commission, it appears to me that what we were doing is essentially proclaiming that this property includes all of the land, including that land that is under the garage apartments and...
Yep, reconfirming what was already discussed and determined in 2008. And then again with that resolution that came forward in 2020. However, the language needs to be more in line with what the assessor's office is looking for.
Okay. And the proclamation is written to address that?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Resolution, not proclamation.
Sorry, resolution. I think these are proclamations. Great. Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Mm-mm.
So, so then we are again in the resolution doing exactly what you just said. You feel that we need to do in order for the Levitt family to
Yes, I
full
agree.
benefit as deemed in 2008 of their property.
Correct. As a point of clarification, did we open this up for public hearing?
I thought it did.
Did we?
Didn't I say that? I said public
Yeah.
comments and I have a cheat sheet over here.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you did.
We went back to public
Yeah.
communications, but I don't recall if the public hearing was open, unless that's
For this one.
considered.
Says
Mhm.
public hearing, says public hearing.
You went through the public hearing
Hopefully I
portion.
did. I have notes right here.
Okay. All right.
Edit. Thank you. We'll make sure we do that. Okay, so I guess I'm looking for a motion from the commissioner.
I make a motion that we approve the new Mills Act contract language.
Okay, in a
I
second.
second it. I second it.
Okay, so Vice Chair Combry made the motion. Commissioner James made the second. Could we get a roll call, please?
Akins,
Yes.
Convery,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McHatton,
Yes.
Prebor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, done. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you again to your lovely family for joining you and supporting you, and
I
very
appreciate
nice to see you.
your consideration and look forward, Commissioner Prebor, for seeing you.
Okay.
sometime.
Thank you.
And thank you again.
And so
Yeah.
this will be scheduled for city council in a future
Great.
hearing.
Okay, yeah, I saw the, I think this is the one I'm like, oh, everything has 2022 numbers. We can't get it done before then. But city council. Okay, great, thank you. And Lucas, you'll keep us.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Lucas, you'll keep us informed on, as we go forward.
As this item moves forward to city council and then for recordation through the assessor's office, fingers crossed that this is what they're looking for. I've spoken with them on a couple different occasions. This feels like the right language, but they're not giving me the keys to the Rolls Royce. I've got to somehow navigate through what that language looks like. This feels very comfortable in having those conversations with their staff. So
Excellent. Great, thank you very much. I was actually supposed to close before we did the vote, but I had to put tape on the bottom of that. Okay, we will now move to public hearing item number 2. Is that good enough?
number 3.
3. Flip
Number
the
3.
page.
Thank you, Chair Akins and Commissioners. This is miscellaneous permit 21-004, and it is also a Mills Act-
044.
Sorry, what did I say? 044, thank you. This is also a Mills Act agreement project. And it's a request to the Historic Preservation Commission to consider adoption of a draft Historic Preservation Commission resolution, including an agreement and attachments that are in your packet, and that would be to recommend to the City Council that they enter into a Mills Act agreement between the city and the owner of the Hummel House, which is historic landmark number 29. The Mills Act is the single most important economic incentive program in California for the restoration and preservation of qualified historic buildings by private property owners. It's a binding agreement between the city and the current owner and any successors of the property for a minimum of 10 years. The agreement is extended annually by 1 year unless either party follows the requirements to cancel the agreement. The agreement included as part of the resolution defines the objects of record that were reviewed when you recommended approval of the landmark terms of agreement and the procedures for the cancellation, if somebody wanted to cancel it. If the Historic Preservation Commission chooses to recommend to the City Council to enter into this agreement, this Mills Act agreement, the City Council will consider the agreement at a future public hearing, and they'll consider the historic value of the landmark and the proposed rehabilitation, restoration, and preservation work, and any proposed restrictions and maintenance, which is included, the maintenance agreement, included in the maintenance agreement, which is at the end of this item. So the agreement terms allow for necessary changes to the maintenance schedule, including a change in the overall scope of with the overall goals to preserve, rehabilitate, and/or restore the structure. Significant changes to the agreement must be reviewed by the city attorney and approved by the City Council. At this time, the property owner's proposed 10-year maintenance schedules includes general maintenance and upkeep of the residence, and as I said, it's at the end of the item here in the packet. And staff is recommending approval of the agreement, or for you to recommend approval to the City Council. And I'm not certain if we have the applicant on Zoom this evening.
We do not.
Okay.
Actually, no, we do not.
Okay. Well, staff is available if you have any questions.
Okay, great. I do know we had Tiffany Rochelle is the owner of the property. We did
Yes.
have Paul here last time we talked on this when we did that. So
Yes.
we have met both of them either through the tours or in person here. And then the one other thing I think to point out is that, and you may have in the information you provided, and appreciate you doing that, we do have a couple people in our audience, and one of which would love to know what a Mills Act is, and you just helped them find out. So thank you for that,
Glad I could be of help.
as we deluged them with information. Okay, Commissioner, questions to staff?
Nope.
Anybody have questions on putting in place a Mills Act for the Hummel property?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, and again, this property, as was landmarked, includes all of the property that's there.
That's correct.
I was going through it, and I was looking at the list of all of the exterior features defining the character of the California ranch style with elements of mid-century modernism, architecture, and the property. And remembering all of these when we each or together took a tour. I know I took the tour with Commissioner Prebor. It's the first time that we had met. Wonderful tour by them. And the fact that I can remember most of these gives importance and credence to the tour that they took us on. So I was thrilled to see this listing here. Okay, if there is no other comments or questions, then I will ask for a motion, please, approving the resolution of granting the Mills Act.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Commissioner McHatton makes the motion. Vice Chair Combry seconds that. Can we get a roll call, please, Cheryl?
Akins,
Yes.
Convery,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McHatton,
Yes.
and Prebor.
Yes.
Great, thank you all. Okay, we are now going to move to item number 4, and this is Terramina, and Commissioner James, who is a resident of Terramina, has been advised and of course acknowledges that she is, as a resident, must be recused at this time.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner James, I'm going to place you on hold, and we'll bring
Okay,
you back
that's
in
fine.
at the end of the item, okay?
Okay. So just let.
Just like that.
So, you want me to take her off hold?
Yeah, it's like Hogwarts.
Oops, and you too. Anyone can be erased by Cheryl, so be careful what you say. Okay. Switching over to item number 4 then. Staff report, please.
Thank you again, Chair and Commissioners. This is work permit 21-005. It's for conversion of a 220 square foot attached carport to an enclosed garage, and also remove and resurface the existing asphalt driveway to DG, decomposed granite. The site and surrounding parcels have a single-family residential zone designation and located in the Taormina Community Historic District. The proposal is to install a factory-painted automatic overhead garage door, painted brown to match the existing trim color on the house. At the north elevation, which is the rear of the structure, there is included an aluminum roll-up door, which, by the way, I find fantastic to have an opposite garage door into the backyard to create your own private workspace, garage space. The west elevation, or the garage side, includes 2 vinyl sliding windows with a color and casement that matches the existing windows on the main residence or the residence. Wood trim is proposed to surround the windows in a semi-transparent dark brown stained wood, which also matches the existing windows on the structure. And the driveway is adjacent to a narrow dirt easement that's owned by the Ojai Valley Land Conservancy, and it's used by, the applicant informed me that it's used by the public to access the Ojai Meadow Preserve, and with the driveway right there kind of breaking apart, the property owner finds it could be detrimental for pedestrians as well as bicyclists. And so by resurfacing the driveway with a decomposed granite, it'll even out the driveway where it joins the path of dirt and make it a smooth path for the pedestrians. And staff is recommending approval. I'm available for questions, of course, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
There we go. Do we want to hear from the applicant?
If the applicant wishes to speak, or if you have questions.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Would you like to come forward and introduce yourself, please?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for hearing this and having me here. I'm Susan Guy, and I'm the owner at 43 Taormina, and I'm hoping to be able to enclose the carport, partly because, well, first of all, the driveway is falling apart and has plants growing out of it and all sorts of things. But to enclose the garage would allow me some more security as a single woman, you know, owning this property. There's a lot of people going by, and they'll sort of throw things in my compost or do random things, and so I just would feel a lot better if I could have that enclosed and safe. And I'm also an artist, and I keep my art things in there in the back of the garage or the carport or whatever it is. And especially on days like today, mold and rats and all sorts of things go in there. I just spent the weekend cleaning rats out of there the other day. So I'd love to be able to have it all secure and safe, but still be able to open it up during the day and have that movement through. So I'm hoping it'll work. So thank you very much.
Great, thank
And
you.
I'm available for questions. If
Okay.
anyone has any questions.
We
I have
will
a
then
question.
open it up to commissioners. If you have any questions for the applicant or for the staff, please ask them.
I have a question for the applicant.
Okay.
Are there any other garages in Taormina that have been enclosed like this? I meant to drive over there yesterday and I just didn't get to it to drive around and look.
Yes, both my neighbors are enclosed. So the ones I can recall right now in my eyes, on each side there's 2 neighbors, and one has a double garage, the other has a double garage, the other one's enclosed, the other is a converted mobile home that has, I think, a double garage. And the only nearby carport is the one across the street, which I believe is owned by whatever that corporation that owns the 17 properties in there.
And these were carports that were later enclosed?
I don't know.
Same
I know
thing that-
one of
That's what I
them.
was curious about.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they were originally. I bought the house, I believe, in 2016, and they were already.
Is it the same footprint as your house with a single car garage? Or a single car carport that's enclosed now?
No, one of them's a converted mobile home. The one next door is the same footprint and has a converted garage that the neighbor was using as an art space before the new
Okay.
person moved in. And then the ones on the other side, one's a duplex, and the other just had that one's having a big remodel. And the other neighbor to the right just had a huge remodel and redid all sorts of stuff. So I don't even know if it was a single or a double garage before that remodel happened,
Oh.
because it was all overgrown. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I was just, I meant to look and see if others have done the same thing. I think it's a really great design. I think it's great. No problem with me. But I just would love to reference other similar footprint houses that have done the same thing. And hey, if these other houses are doing big remodels, how come they're not in front of HPC?
My question
Oh,
too.
whoops, I'm sorry.
Oops.
Wow. But no, I think it's a cool design. I love it.
Other commissioners, comments, questions? Nope. I have driven through there. We've actually walked through there. I'm trying to determine. I didn't have a chance to go by today, but I know there is an entrance that comes kind of to the would be northwest corner.
Off of La Paz?
No, it's coming in from the fields back there. If you're coming down behind Terramina and then trying to find a way up to walk through.
Oh, Hermosa, or the hiking up through the meadow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the trail that comes up through the meadow where all the cross-country teams from the high school go, like, run by. Yeah,
Well, thank you for that, since I
Oh.
have a grandson that did cross country for the first time this
no,
year.
it's great, it's nice, it's busy. It's good
Great.
to have that engagement.
Yeah, and going through there, I have often wondered why more people hadn't enclosed those carports. I think the benefit too, in the design is if you are in the art studio, you have the ability to, on cold days, to close it out off and heat it up. But on the warmer, the beautiful spring days, we have just to let that breeze that blows through that area come through and just enjoy the fresh air and cool yourself down. So,
Absolutely, and the light. And the thing about having the doors on both sides is if, it's no good and the future person or somebody wanted to just put it back to carport, you just take them off and there it is.
we like those kind of changes.
So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else, staff, that we need to know?
I was going to say no, but Lucas, was there something else you wanted to say about this project? Okay.
Okay, then we will look for a motion from Commissioner to approve that. Is it a minor work permit?
It's a work permit.
Work permit? Okay. Then to approve that work permit. Motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the work
I'll
permit.
second that.
Was that Cindy?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, I'm just trying to help. Okay, so motion by Commissioner Convery, and was that a
Second.
second by Commissioner McCatton?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Roll call, please, Cheryl?
Akins?
Yes.
Convery?
Yes.
James?
She
Oh,
abstained.
sorry. McCatton
Yes.
and Prebor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Poof, we're going to bring Commissioner James back.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much, Susan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing portion and move to discussion items. Okay, discussion item number 5. Wow. I gotta tell you, when I saw this packet, I'm like, and started on it about noon today, I'm like, am I gonna get done by 5? And then I looked and saw,
Yeah.
wait, I've seen that information and read through it 6 times already. I can skip it today.
Thank you.
So staff, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Aiken. So the discussion item tonight is proposed topics to discuss at the January 18th, 2022 special joint meeting with City Council, and then to receive reports from the Education Outreach and Research Ad Hoc Committee. I think it's important to note that at our last discussion, there was only one item on here, which was the historic downtown district consideration. The ad hoc has been working tirelessly, obviously with Chair Akins and Commissioner McHatton on that, as well as I believe Craig Walker is on that as well. Recently, Chair Akins had asked to add an additional item which has additional backup to that. I felt it was necessary for the full commission to kind of get an opportunity to, whether it's in bites or the entire document, as Chair Akins was mentioning, to read through, to get familiar with the site at 414 East Ojai Avenue, which is the school district site. There has been recent information and meetings that have taken place regarding that site, and I'll open the floor to you, Chair Akins, to kind of talk through that a little bit, but having that background information and just understanding the context of it, I think, is important moving forward, and certainly with the commission having the discussion on whether to include that item as a part of the discussion at the joint meeting on the 18th.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
So a little background, we have a joint meeting with the City Council on the January 15th?
The 18th.
18th, okay. And in that, we've been trying to get together with them and trying to get a full hour. My understanding is that since this will be on a Tuesday that is not a council meeting, that they may have the freedom then to allow more time and not be limited to the 1 hour. I think if we were limited to the 1 hour, I am still of the mindset that we go with the Downtown Historic District presentation, as we have practiced this, or Gina has practiced this, as we have discussed it in the HPC meeting. However, if they give us more time than that, recently, as many of you may know, there was a planning commission hearing. It was held at the Boyd Center. It was for a proposition for the Nordhoff Grammar School property, or ed administration and other school that's there. Depends on what age you're talking about. In that they seem to, in the presentations that were put forward by the representative of the school district, they seem to forget the fact that this is a landmark property and that it has to go through steps involving the Historic Preservation Commission. And so that is why I felt like I wanted to bring forward the idea of if there's an interest by the Historic Preservation Commission, then to reopen the landmarking. As the landmarking took place several years ago, I think 4 years ago, in this council chamber, initially the Historic Preservation Commission recommended all of the property basically pretty much on the west side, the other areas, but not to include the maintenance buildings that were in the back. So the front part that was landmarking, the quad that was there, and the former elementary school that had a mid-century modern designer and a specific Ojai effect lighting that goes in it. After discussion by the City Council, that proposition was pared back to the properties that are on Ojai Avenue, and those are landmarked: the administration building, the long classroom building, and the auditorium. Also landmarked is the property in front of that. One of the things that, again, looking at discussions, interesting to watch what's going on in Facebook world and not being able to comment on anything. But the other thing that at some point I'd like to figure out is whether in landmarking the property on the front also includes those pepper trees that are there. So that's a question that has come up frequently in Facebook land. So my thought was, again, I have a little background too in that 4 years ago when we were discussing and landmarking this, I met with the supervisor, Andrew Cantwell at the time, 2 times for about 8 hours trying to figure out what they were going to do. I looked at the presentation that took place in that meeting, which seemed like the presentation that took place in September 2019. I'm just unsure of the importance of landmarking to some locations in some constituencies in our valley. I know people, again, looking at people back and forth, but when the landmarking was passed by the city council, my understanding is that the ability to come back was still open to extend that landmarking. And so when I talked to Lucas, and it basically was the question I wanted to put out there and ask Lucas how to do that was to do it at this point to the commission and get the thoughts from the commissioners on whether they support our moving forward in possibly putting forward to the city council the idea of extending that landmark. Now, the school as it's landmarked in Commissioner McHatton, who should have been listed of the number, I know Lucas was being deferential to my position as chair to mention me first, but I'm a long ways behind Commissioner McHatton and Craig Walker and all of the effort they have done on that. But in doing the Downtown Historic District, which we're going to discuss with the City Council, we only included the portion that was landmarked in that area. Is that correct, Commissioner McHatton? Or did we go for... You're muted.
All right. We included the whole thing.
The whole thing. Okay, great. So that the whole school area is included in that Downtown Historic District presentation. So I just wanted to open it up for discussion by the other commissioners on whether they have an interest in proposing to the City Council that we discuss and put forward an extension or extending the properties to include in that landmark status. So I open it to comments.
When we landmarked this, Jarwin was very adamant about landmarking the grammar school, and Craig Walker as well in the back.
Mhm.
And it went hand in hand with the Miners Oaks Grammar School, the mid-century modern design. And I don't have the architect's name in front of me. I think it's in the packet.
Bunts? Is it Bunts?
I don't know. It's probably in the packet. But these are the things that, I think we can continue to look at because this school is a really volatile piece of property. I was actually just looking on my phone for the actual resolution, and because I didn't see it in the packet. And I had sent it to somebody recently on the Arts Commission when they were asking about placing a public piece of art on the corner there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's landmarked, can't put it on the land. And the head of the school board said, what? And then I found in the resolution that it was landmarked. So, and I think, Brian, that includes the pepper trees and the front lawn.
I believe
But
so.
I can't just put my hands on it right now. It's somewhere in my emails.
The resolution, you're talking about the resolution for the Historic Preservation Commission?
The resolution that landmarks the grammar school, it's resolution 1750 grammar school landmark designation.
Okay, I'm seeing the resolution that I've included with this packet is HPC 17-07.
What page is it on? Wait, what did I say? 17 something else?
Yeah, you said 17 dash something else.
1750 grammar school landmark designation.
Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, in that resolution, because
Oh, it is. Yeah, it says resolution 1750 adopted November 28, 2017.
Mm-hmm. And that clearly calls out the property in front of those
Yeah.
items that are landmarked.
Yeah, Brian, so those are the pepper trees.
Yeah.
But no, the surprising thing to me when the arts commissioner asked me about the situation with public art, that the school board didn't know which parts of the property were landmarked. Like the head of the school board was giving the artist permission to do something she didn't have the authority to give. So, you know, it's not, it's a little tricky when people aren't up to date on what's landmark and what's not in their own, you know, in their department, the school board department. So, and I do think it's confusing because the whole property isn't landmarked, you know? They thought maybe it was just the front wall. But I'm all for landmarking the whole thing. And I think that the planning commission meeting with 2,000 signatures from Trevor Quirk's petition and the 4 hours worth of speakers, I think the community would support, you know, protecting this property.
Mhm.
Great, thank you. I'm pretty sure it's Bunce is the architect because there is a Bunce Hall at UCLA. Also, the Oakview Elementary School has that same window design.
Yeah, it's a really well known. I mean, this is a Craig Walker conversation or a Darwin McCready conversation.
Yeah, I know they were both big mid-century modern fans.
Yeah.
Because again, I think that's the Aaron may have been part of the focus of Craig's father.
Yeah, and you know, I understand that the school board, and we had this conversation with Andy, the former head of the school board, when he was fighting the landmark designation before he moved to Texas. But you know, it's like he's not like part of the community. But you know, I understand the school board has to create a revenue stream, but I think it can be done within the confines of landmarking this property. And Jenny, you had mentioned the Annenberg Center as a reference point for something this property could become, which is a public use space. You know, it's
of a landmarked piece of property.
yeah, the landmark piece of property, and the adaptive reuse and the historic preservation. You know, the National Historic Preservation Register is really impressive. So, you know, trying to educate the school board to head down that road, I think, is a better use for the community.
Great. Okay, Commissioner McCatton? Yes.
I agree there. Adaptive reuse is such a key part of what we do. And it's not like we're saying, keep it exactly the way it is. Don't touch it. Don't change it. It's just keeping mind of where it is and the resource it is to Ojai, and keeping within the feel and look of Ojai without, you know, it's just education. It all comes down to just explaining what you can do, because there is so much you can do. It's just being thoughtful and understanding the resource a little bit more than they do right now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commissioner Preborg, Commissioner James, do you have any comments?
I would just say, you know, on that same note, is that I don't think that I didn't feel at the meeting that even the community understood the value of the resource. You know, that the value of what it would mean to the community to do something that involved historic structures, but was a contemporary community site. So I don't know, you know, how to present that, or, I mean, I do feel that sometimes people feel hindered if they hear that a piece of property is landmarked. And instead of looking at it the other way, that you're, like you just said, the positive side of adaptive reuse of landmark facilities.
Great.
I mean, we're not turning it back. It's not colonial Williamsburg. We're not, you know, turning back the clock and recreating something.
Yeah.
But, you know, but but it's an add. Brian and I have talked about, it's an additive, like everything, every day we're creating the history of Ojai, and it's additive. And what can we add to this site to save the historic value of it and recognize that? And I think it's interesting that there's a mid-century building that was not landmarked in the first round.
Yeah, Jenny, it was a fight to landmark this. At the time, the school board was completely against it and they were kicking and screaming the whole way. That's part of the reason that the back property, that school, the grammar school, didn't get done. But when you do landmark a property, it drives away people like the group that just came in with their second round of the same proposal they tried to shove down everyone's throat 6 years ago. So what happens with a landmark property like this is it attracts an adaptive reuse company from around the country that is a high quality group that understands what it is. It actually becomes an attraction to that type of, I hate the word developer, but to that type of developer, instead of just anybody off the street, like the last group that just got kicked out of here.
Right. I mean, I think that we're looking for someone who, is a contextual designer that's going to design something that, relates to those buildings and the town that it's in. And, as if we were in Vermont and had a couple, landmark buildings that we were, building something around. I mean, it would be a different approach probably. I think the one big thing about that presentation, which probably doesn't even matter in this conversation, was that the weight of it was so out of sync with the community and the town. It just seemed very, very heavy and oppressive.
Yeah.
And those buildings that we've already landmarked, as well as the mid-century, are light. And, what did Brian say about using the Ojai? What did you say, Brian, about the mid-century use the Ojai?
Oh, the mid-century includes a lighting that was known as the Ojai effect.
The Ojai effect. Yeah, I think that's what we want to play up on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner McCanton?
I think this would be a very different conversation if it was on a side street a few streets away. This is in our core downtown. So that's why it's so imperative that we look at this whole property and we look at it when we discuss the downtown historic district. This is part of our core downtown. This is not 5, 6, 7 blocks away. This is right smack in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right in the heart of Ojai. A question I had in thinking about this is, and Cindy, you may know, I am just wondering if we I'm trying to think of a win-win type situation. Is there a possibility if we landmark this then to be able to get grant money from state or federal that would help to refurbish the building?
Yes, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. There's and it's a much bigger conversation, I think, than we're in. I'm not prepared for it, but there's national projects. There's California State Main Street project that I was going to apply for. I actually applied for Ojai to become one of the most endangered places in 2022, but I haven't heard back yet from the National Trust. But the other thing that's really interesting about landmarking the whole property is that it creates historic tax credits. For anyone that does any work on it, you get massive historic tax credits. And, those are extremely valuable. You can actually sell them, to other people that have tax liabilities. So, it's a complicated situation, but it creates more value for the property than less value. It's a huge plus. It attracts better people to work on it. it attracts more money and it creates a better cash flow for whoever's involved. And there are programs. There's a California state program. It's actually on my other computer for downtown renovation. But I think, if you're willing, if you're all ready for me to like dig into that, I can bring back a presentation.
Great. I think that would be good because what I'd like to have that for is when we meet with the city council.
Yeah.
Because if they do give us the added time, then we can say to them, this is, we've made this research, we've heard their concerns about not having the money. However, there is the other people's money is the best kind of money. And so I'd love to hear what information you have. And I believe we have another HPC meeting before the joint meeting. So we could bring
So
that up at that time.
issue, this is Jenny, the one issue with that is that it was my understanding that there was a December meeting where the school board would vote on its own to give the current development group the 100-year lease.
Well, the school board has a meeting on December 15th.
Right. So what if they go ahead and give this group the lease, then they in the future will just, this is my question. And then will they in the future then just have to deal with whatever the decisions are made after?
That is an excellent question. I can only guess that they, based on what they presented and what in the community input and the Ojai Valley News posted position of one of the school board members, that I wouldn't imagine they would be making a decision, but that's entirely up to them. So we will wait and see. And I don't know that we can do anything in the next 6 days.
Well, I think we can call the board members. I can definitely call Shelley Griffin and ask her what the feeling is on the school board, and Michael Shanahan is accessible. Maybe we should each one of us call a school board member and just get the idea of what's going on over there.
Okay. Yes.
By mentioning this idea or not?
No, just call them up and say, I'm a historic preservation commissioner. We're concerned about your decision during the next vote based on the community.
Call pause right here because I've got Lucas that would like
Is he
to
shaking his head?
Guidance.
I think that's definitely excellent to get the research. I just want to caution the commission on that effort. If and when that item does come to this commission, I'd hate to have any of the commissioners, because of what's being said or what's being asked of, have to recuse based on some of that information when ex partes come up in the future. What I've been doing is just watching and reading everything I can see and who it comes from, and basically putting that into the thinking, but not contacting anybody or even saying anything, because I happen to sit in on the planning commission's training that they got a month or so ago, which said that if 3 of us like the same subject, it's now become a public item. So you don't see me liking much anymore in Facebook land.
Well, you're
talking about the virtual aspect, correct?
Yes.
You've got to be careful with that as well.
Yeah, so
that's the same. That's the position that I was. Oops, I made a lot to you. Being a merchant, and there's a lot of chatter from the merchant group about this project. So I am, I feel like I'm handling it the same way that Brian is. It's just reading and listening and. Learning, but not hesitant to contact people or like things.
Yeah. Commissioner McHatton, yes.
So it's Maynard Linden is the architect of the
Oh,
mid-century
that's
building.
it. You're correct.
Yes, and it is Bunch
What was
Hall,
Bunch-
because
oh.
I remember my son, when he was at UCLA, he had commented on this building that they never used to have to put air conditioning or lighting on because of the really amazing use of architecture, lighting and direction. They paid such attention when it was built. And I think that was what was brought to this as well, you know, really paying attention to Ojai and our lighting and our, the directions of breezes and everything to keep that elementary school special in the way it was built. So that was that. I think that when we have our joint meeting with council, this is all tied together. Like I said, the back building is part of our downtown historic district. If in fact it's a vote that can go to council at a later date to add in that, that would be a great discussion. I think it could be part of the discussion of the downtown and the importance of including that both all in our downtown historic district, but as a little bit more protection to maybe have him go to a vote again in council. But I think that can be rolled into the downtown historic district conversation because it is all one right now.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Thank you. And the other thing we've been very careful in the ad hoc committee is not to get over the top of our skis because again, and that's why I'm a little bit cautious in going out into the community is that I don't want to have feedback go back to the council, negative feedback to the council of what we're doing without their guidance. And so that's why I wanted to bring it up here on whether we want to go forward in our joint council meeting as
I think it's
Commissioner
important that
Hutton
we
salting
have
the
our joint
mind.
council meeting and we bring it up there. We see their support both for the downtown historic district and if they would be willing to bring it to a vote again to include that back part. But I think that we should be respectful of council and wait until we have our joint council meeting before we go to the public at all with this.
Okay, great.
I think we got to, like you said, we
Yeah,
don't go
no, I
over
agree
on
with that. I would still like, Cindy, if you could get that information and bring that to the next HPC meeting. I think
Yeah.
that
that
could be
should
very
probably,
beneficial.
we talked about that being a slide, Cindy. Maybe you can send me some information just because we had talked about the best downtown, like if you see a downtown historic district that's beautiful and that looks pristine and between adaptive reuse and just quality of the restoration, it's probably because they use these funds.
I think you need to
And-
send that
and
to
so-
somebody at the city. Cindy needs to send that to somebody at the city and then send to you. Because
Yeah.
otherwise we're expanding the ad hoc committee.
Right. So if you
Yeah, I can be
send
the
that-
pastor. That's fine.
Gina, I'll send you the bullet points and you
Not
can,
to me though. If
no,
you-
I mean, I'll send the city the bullet points and you can create the slide.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
could be
gonna
either
do
me
our
or
work. I'm not gonna send you an
yeah,
email.
myself or
That's
Cheryl.
fine. And then I'll send the slide back to Lucas and then you can make sure I got it correct.
Yep, sounds good. Wonderful. And we can't take any action because it's only a discussion item.
Okay.
But great conversation.
What about the Boyd Centers? That seems a little,
I think that's archaic and left from the joint meeting we were going to have maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just put it back on there just to say, hey, it's still there, but I'm seeing the importance of the items that we're seeing here tonight, certainly.
Okay.
That can go on the back burner until a later date.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see, future. We did, so 5 we polished off. 6 is future agenda items. Special, when we talk, again, special joint meeting with the city council, I think we have covered that.
Correct.
I hope we're,
And Tuesday is our, the awards, right?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So tune in on Tuesday, December 14th. For city council, it'll be, there's a presentation.
Lucas can tell you that because we're closer to commissioner comments at the moment.
We're leaning into that as well. I want to mention, I know January 13th looks empty, but just know that we've got like 3 or 4 projects that are looming. I didn't put those on there because they haven't been officially identified as being complete to schedule them for public hearing, but we're getting very close with a couple of these items.
Okay,
So,
great. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so planning report?
I have a couple of things I wanted to just, there was an email that was sent earlier this week kind of informing and updating this commission on a couple different items. If you do have any questions on those, I'd say reach out to me independently for a Q&A. It's informational. Just know that on some of those items, it is going to be kind of ongoing updates just because there's ongoing maintenance that's going on with some of those items. So just be aware of that. In addition to that, at last night's Planning Commission meeting, there was a fairly heavy item. And the item that wasn't necessarily, the commission staff was looking for feedback and comments from the commission in regards to Hotel El Roblar. So just know that that item is going to be coming to this commission at some point in the near future. And that is because the item itself is identified, the hotel is identified as a historic resource. And that's really based on recent information that's been brought to staff's attention. So meaning staff is working on and with an architectural historian to put together a historic resources report, which will then be coming to this commission, providing recommendation then back to Planning Commission. So just know that that's forthcoming. I don't have a date on that yet, only because we're in the meat of working with the historian currently.
Okay, and in the package, they identified the group. Are you still in negotiations with that group, or have you let out?
No, I can identify who that group is. It's ARG. So that's known. We're working with them. We're under contract.
And where are they located?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
But they certainly know Ojai very well.
Oh, good. That's good to hear, because I know we were concerned about them phoning in a historic resource report from LA.
I was slightly concerned that they were from LA, but having that conversation, it matched their proposal. So,
well, that's wonderful, wonderful. And I do appreciate the Historic Preservation Commission update on matters that you sent to us. Very helpful.
There's other items out there. Just know that there will be other updates. I'm trying to keep this commission up to speed on certain items. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Items that are of concern to this commission. There's lots of items going on right now, but not necessarily all of them are a concern of the commission. Of interest, certainly, but maybe not of this commission's. So,
all I can say about last night is good thing we don't have to count parking spaces for 3 hours.
it was 3.5 hours
3.5 hours
of parking discussion.
Oh my gosh. I give them credit, and I will point out that Steve Quillisi, the chair of the Planning Commission, pointed out at the end of the conversation the correct process and how all of this will take place. So that a good emphasis and on the involvement of the Historic Preservation Commission as a part of that step. So kudos to Steve. That was done. People questioned why he said that. I said that was done for the public. Let's see, update, HPC. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
One last thing. Someone has a hand up. But one last thing. Probably over a month ago, there was a training that was done the benefit of the Planning Commission.
Yeah,
that training was recorded. I'm working on having that distributed to this commission as well. I encourage, when that's sent out, to watch it. If you have any questions on it, I encourage those questions to come up. We could even schedule a discussion portion at a future commission meeting as well.
Great.
Yes,
Training for what, Lucas? Training for what, Lucas?
Oh, it's commission actions and Brown Act essentially is what it really boils down to, making sure that we're not stepping on toes and potentially having to recuse ourselves based on information. This is the 21st century, so there's there's the media aspect of it, the virtual aspect of it that a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking about, commissioners in particular. And what I want to emphasize, and you'll see this in the presentation and the information and some of the Q&A that went back and forth then, is you think that you're doing the right thing being out in the public and providing a resource or providing information, but then at the same time doing something as simple as a like could get you into hot water very quickly.
Yes, it was very hard not to clarify heinous inaccuracies in Facebook land about different commissions who were independently doing their job. You just had to walk away. So glad I
To
took
bite your
that
tongue
training.
sometimes. Yeah, it's tough, especially the social media is just so out there right now and exposed. So
Okay, so moving to this commissioner comments, I had a request that I made earlier today. I would like Cindy to report on a project that came before us a couple of months ago.
Oh, it's the art at the jail, which is either before or after Ojai Day 2022. It's Matt, Teddy from the Basic Premise, Elizabeth Herring, who did the Ojai gift shop, and they were granted $7,500 from the Arts Commission to create art at the jail. So Brian asked me for a report, and I will read you the text that I got. It says, now we have to raise the other half of our requested funding because they believe they need more than $7,500. So they're starting a fundraising event to get another $7,000. After the holidays, they'll be planning a concert at Bart's Books or the Ojai Playhouse, a silent auction of artworks, and we also do meetings with artists. Oh, then they're going to meet with the artists to finalize the works who will be in the show. And I think it's Gary Lang, who is a painter, a local painter. So he's in the picture. But basically, they're going to run around town and raise money with lots of fun projects to make this a bigger and better jail presentation than we could ever imagine. That's what I understand. So that's the report, Brian.
Great, thank you. The last commission they went to was the Parks and Rec.
Yeah, they've been through Arts, Parks and Rec, and HPC to get this done. Everybody's involved, which is good. We're all connected.
Yep, nope, the Arts Commission wanted to make sure they had permission from everybody involved, and so they did a great job on this. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Commissioner McCatton.
I just have a question, probably for Lucas. It's so much paper and colored Xeroxes, so many of them that we've had before, like on the Signal one we just got. Is there a way that, just like when you ask whether we want to be in person or whether we want to be on Zoom, can you ask maybe the commissioners whether we want a paper packet or maybe a digital copy, just so we can cut down the cost a little bit, the environmental impact, just.
That's actually a really good point. In the future, if there are, for instance, like historic resources reports that have a lot of colored photos, we can certainly provide that through a Google image or a Google Drive link that you could access. And that would make this, like for instance, this packet tonight, a heck of a lot thinner than what you're seeing. If the commission is agreeable to that, I just to be clear, I'd prefer that if we do that it's for the full commission, because it does get a little bit tedious in
Just
terms
little
of
things like
yeah.
if some of us are looking at, let's say, the color of the sign, and some of us are looking at a digital copy, and some looking at a printout copy, that we might have discrepancies within our commission. So yeah, we might want to have it all one. But it's just something I was just wondering, because it was so thick this time. And when I was thinking, oh wow, I have so much to read, and then I was looking through it and seeing how repetitive it was from past packets, and it just thought that, I know that we are trying to be as frugal as we can with all aspects of our commission. I think this is probably the next thing that maybe we should look at, is just keeping this cost down a little bit.
It's a fair point. Absolutely.
Okay, so the one last thing, because we always appreciate people who are taking care of our landmarks. And tonight, we have a gentleman who came and introduced himself before the meeting and has sat through all 93 minutes since. So Joel Horowitz is the ranch manager on the Westways project. And he introduced himself to Maura, to Lucas, and to myself. I was first linked with them by Cindy Combry. So maybe you could give us a 30-second pitch of what you're doing to keep our landmark safe, the Westways, if you would, please.
Hi there. Thank you for having me tonight. It's just been thrilling to listen to just the procedures. I've not been exposed to this before. I'm relatively new with the family at the Westways property and excited to learn about what you guys do and how we can work with you to keep that property fantastic. It really is just an exquisite place. I get lost in it all the time. And just as far as even keeping it up to date and keeping it classic to what it's supposed to be, but keeping it safe and livable as well. That's what our goal is. So thank you for having me. It's great to meet all of you.
Great. Thank you for coming tonight, Joel.
Thank you so much.
And he still came, even though we deluged him with about 242 pages of Mills Act and Historic Resources reports and Historic Resource Report supplements. And then Maura jumped in and said, hey, I'm your lifesaver. I'll walk you through this. Okay, anything else that we need to bring up? No? Okay, we'll close it. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Brian.
Bye. Bye,
Dina.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank
Jenny.
you.
Bye, Valerie. Bye, Lucas.